Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I apologize. It's been a minute. I had a lot going on that took me away. And last week, I was a little bit out of commission because of the weather. And so I apologize because the last time we spoke, that I came on and spoke with everyone, it was about men's health. And I'm still talking about men's health. Um, and it was referring to hypertension and prostate. Amen. So that's what we were talking about. And because June is men's uh health month, it's for men ultimately, a month for them to to understand and be aware of the things that they need. So welcome back in. Today we are diving into an important topic that affects millions of men. And the topic that I'm going to share with you today and talk to you today about is diabetes. And so whether you're living with it or at risk, or supporting someone who is or has this, this episode is definitely for you. Why men's health is often overlooked, especially when it comes to chronic illnesses like diabetes, I don't know, but we definitely need to talk about it. So today we're going to talk about diabetes. All right. Quick stats. So, according to the CDC, over 14% of adult men in the US have diabetes, and many don't even know that they actually have it. So, let's just kind of dive right on into this. This is something that I know is so near and dear to so many people that may have it or family members that have it. And so, let's talk about the two different ones. You have what is called a type 1 and then a type 2. Type 1 is autoimmune. You are literally diagnosed this when you're young, in younger age. So which means with you're born into it, right? And so you'll probably have you become a diabetic at a very young age, and you have to know how to manage it while as you grow older, right? Type 2 is not. It's most common, but it is definitely not autoimmune. So you're not born with it. It's not just, oh my God, by the time I get 10 years old or a teenager, I'm became a diabetic. So this usually type 2 usually is because of lifestyle. And so I've taught and educated many patients on how to eat, what to do, certain things that they want to try to help, get their diabetes under control. Diabetes is usually for people who they're not they're producing too much insulin, and so I mean too much sugar. It's they don't have enough insulin, and so they need insulin to decrease the sugar. And so you have people who are high, and the word for it is hypoglycemic. That's the medical terminology for someone who has diabetes. You also have what is called the pre-diabetes, which is a warning zone. It's often reversible. Okay, just like type 2 is reversible. Type 2 is managed with diet and exercise. You don't have to be on meds. Type 1, you do need medication in order to stabilize yourself, and you have to have a certain type of eating plan in place for yourself as well. Okay. Some of the symptoms and the things you want to watch out for, to know if you are becoming a diabetic or if you already are. But those who don't know and those who want to have an understanding of it, then you want to pay attention. Frequent urination, increased thirst and hunger, fatigue, blurred vision, slow healing of their wounds. You will see a lot of these things happening in someone who is a diabetic. And so, if you have someone who you live with and they are a diabetic, you definitely want them to pay attention to their signs. They will always be thirsty. They will always be hungry. They're always going to use the restroom quite frequently. Okay. So you want to watch them, make sure they're not eating too much sugars. Because that is one of the reasons that the diabetes will be out of whack. They can end up throwing themselves into what is called a diabetic coma. And so we want to make sure that we're paying attention if they ever get hurt or something happens. Their wounds do not heal quickly at all. Their wounds are healed slowly, which can actually cause and turn it into an infection. And so you want to be mindful of that, okay? Specific issues directly related to men, because those other things that I talked about is overall for anyone. But here are a few things that's actually directed closer to men, which would be erectile dysfunction. That is one. And men, you don't want that. So you want to be mindful that you would have to see not only your primary care, but a urologist. Low testosterone levels. Okay, so you want to be mindful of that. Again, see your primary care and also a urologist for that as well. Increase in belly fat. That's another area where for men, specifically for men, that we will see this. So ED, testosterone levels, and also increase in your belly weight. And so a family doctor or endocrinologist, and sometimes even a urologist, to break down, you can seek these persons out and they'll break it down in simple terms for you a little bit more if you need that. Or if you're okay with medical jargon, they can tell you a lot of those things. So that can kind of tell you, which way you need to go. And if you are a candidate that needs medications, certain medications to kind of help you out. Okay. So these are just some things that we want to talk about because men, we really, as men, you guys carry the weight of the world. You have the stresses of the day-to-day outside life. And then you kind of come home, and home is supposed to be your safe place as well, just as it is for us women. And so we have to create a safe environment for you all and a relaxing environment for you all as well. And so one of them things is being able to come home to your spouse who can know how to actually take care of you the right way. And so let's talk about why men are at higher risk. A little bit more why you guys are actually at higher risk for a lot of the things that actually happened. Because remember, a week ago, before I kind of was out of whack, I was in a lot of pain last week, and when I'm in a lot of pain and I'm not able to really do a whole lot, and so unfortunately, I was like, I'm not going to be laying in no bed talking to these people. So I'm definitely going to just have to hold off. And then my daughter's wedding was coming. And so there was a lot. But so right now, why men are at higher risk. So here's some reasons why men are actually at higher risk for diabetes. Societal pressure, men less likely to seek care. That's one of the main things that's actually the main thing as to why men end up at a higher risk of having diabetes. And again, remember, this is Men's Health Month. And so I want to come in and talk about this. You have to seek a doctor. Men have to start seeking doctors and seeking medical care. Excuse me. The second reason would be that men would be at higher risk is that stress and its role in blood sugar levels. When stress actually plays a role. Remember, some time ago, I talked about stress, how it plays a huge role in the things that we do in our lives. And sometimes we don't know that we're so stressed out that it's affecting certain areas. So it does play a role in your blood sugar levels. Poor diet. If you are not eating properly, you have a very poor diet. If you are drinking or consuming a lot of alcohol, sedentary habits, common working men who work among each other that just kind of like do whatever they want to do and say, oh, you'll be all right. No, we can't do those things. We have to stick to our schedules. We have to stick to our diets. We have to just be consistent with the things that we do, right? And so when it comes to men's health, men have to pay attention to another thing is their family history. Okay, family history. Now, I am not a person who says, oh, this runs in my family, so I'm just going to grab it because it runs in my family. That it has to actually go on by or cut it off. But that's not to say that if it's something that really, really runs in your family and it's strong in it, then yes, you definitely want to seek the doctors. It's possible that you can prevent it from even happening to you by early detection, which means don't wait. Go seek the doctor. Do your annual physicals. Okay. Remember, men, if you're watching, or again, if spouses, if you're watching, this is something that you can replay back to the men in your lives or just have the information. And because of me being a previous healthcare worker in the nursing field for so long, and then in education, teaching on these things. And so it comes, like real natural. So too many men wait until it's too late. If your dad, brother, or has it, or nephews, uncles, or someone, tell them to get checked. It's not weakness. It's actually called wisdom. It's actually being called wisdom. And so we appreciate in the medical field when people come in and do their routine checkups. Better safe than sorry, right? So here's some things we want to talk about: prevention and lifestyle management. So I'm going to give you a few nutrition tips, and you may want to write some of these things down because these are some things that you can actually do, or tell your loved ones that these are things that they can just kind of do. Okay. And this can also go for women as well, not have to just be men, but I'm specifically talking to men right now because this is, again, this is Men's Health Month and we are almost out of it. And so I definitely wanted to touch on diabetes for sure. Okay, so here are 3 nutrition tips that you can do. Focus on whole grains, lean proteins, and fiber. Whole grains, lean protein, and fiber. Those are 3 things that you literally want to do. They actually help control the diabetes and especially the portions of how much you're taking too. You want to cut down on all the processed sugars and sugary drinks. You want to really cut those down almost to pretty much just count them out. Cut them completely out. Portion control is also an important factor. You want to put things in moderation. You don't want to consume too much. If you have a small breakfast, then you want to have like a medium lunch or the same size of a lunch, or you want to have a bigger dinner, or you want to have a bigger lunch and a lighter dinner. You want to do things in proportion. You don't want to consume too much. It's okay to consume a certain amount of sugar, but you have to watch your sugar levels. But you really want to try to get away from the processed sugars and other things. Natural sugars is okay because, like fruits carry natural sugar. So sometimes if you get a little bit of fruit in you, it's good. Listen, apples is full of fiber, but it's also fruit too, and it has its own natural sugar. So you can kind of get both in that. A few exercise tips. You want to do 30 minutes a day of moderate activity, whether that is walking up and down your stairs, taking a walk around the block, however that needs to be for you. You also want to include strength training, which is twice a week. So you want to do like weight liftings and stuff like that, things that's going to help give you strength while you are doing your exercising. So even if you're doing 30 minutes a day, you can incorporate that stretch training twice a week. You at least want to do that twice a week. Walking, cycling, and even yard work actually counts. Some people think that if I got to go, I got yard work to do, it's not. Listen, yard work actually counts because you're outside, you're bending, you're lifting, you're stretching, you're doing stuff, you're mowing grass, walking and stuff. So that stuff actually counts as well. Mental health connections. I want to touch on a little bit of mental health connections for men when it comes to this, because it can affect your diabetes, because sometimes people can get so depressed, or depression and anxiety, it affects the diabetes management, because if you get depressed or if you feel anxious, you don't kind of want to do anything. You kind of just want to shy away from it. You just be like, I'm not doing this today. I'm not going to do that today. I'm not whatever. And so you want to kind of be mindful of those things when it comes to that. You don't want to just kind of throw stuff away, right? So again, men often hide their emotional symptoms as well. Those things will actually affect. Remember, it's part of it. Actually, is kind of part of stress. Um, Reducing your stress, if you don't reduce your stress, because people who have anxiety or depression, they're highly sometimes stressed out, and so those things will play a factor. It'll raise your blood pressure. It could raise your sugar levels, because sometimes people just don't care, and then they start eating anything they want to eat, right? So those are some things. Here are some tools that you want to have. These are some things that you definitely need to have if you don't already have them. You definitely need to have a support group. You also want to do meal planning, which is really important. Meal prep planning is so important when you are a diabetic. Um, there are many places where you can go and start doing meal prep, like get your food ready for your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. You can actually do this stuff throughout the week. Honestly, you don't even have to do it. Excuse me, you don't actually have to do it every day. You can actually start it on like a Sunday night or Saturday, and you can meal prep for a whole entire week and then have your stuff together. And so those are really good tips, not just for men only, but for everyone. But again, remember, we're talking to men. um, Glucose monitoring apps, you definitely want to have those with you, because you want to monitor that. Now they have this thing now where it's like a little patch you can put on your arm, and you can kind of tap, and it'll tell you where you are. I'm not as sure how effective those are. I haven't tried them, or had at the time when they came out. I was no longer working in doctor's offices. I was, in education, and so I'm not so sure how effective those are, but I hear that they have been very effective for people who was getting tired of always having to prick their finger just to test their sugar. So I think that that is a wonderful thing that they have out for men and women who have actual diabetes. Support groups are definitely important to get with when you are um, have diabetes. And here's the reason why support groups are good. The reason why the support groups are good is because sometimes people can't talk to other people that can relate, and they want to be around people. It's just the same for anything that's going on in our lives. We want those support groups around us, because they can actually help us get what we need, be where we want to be, all of those things in life. And so I admonish you that if you have that, get a good support group. And whatnot. And so, for those of you who are actually living with diabetes, um, so here are just a few things you want to do while you're doing. You want medication management. That means going to see your doctors. That means even if you have a hard time managing your medications, if you don't have like those little pill boxes that tell you Monday or Sunday through Saturday or whatnot how to take your medications, how to do your insulins, you can always contact nurses. You can always talk with your doctor to help train you, or bring a family member along with you that can help you to manage all your medications the right way, so that you are in a routine. Okay. Sometimes men don't necessarily like to pay attention to all of those things, and that's where wives or spouse or significant others, they can step in. Parents, sometimes they have a difficult time, and so then children can step in and help out with those things. And so we just want to be mindful of our health and how we're taking that medication, because with insulin, it has to just be right. And I'm going to tell you, it has to be. if it is not actually right when you're injecting that insulin in you, you can inject too much or you cannot inject enough. And so then it has to literally, your units that you inject into have to be accurate. So that's super, super important. Okay, when you're living with diabetes, these are some of the things that you need to think about. It's medication management, building a relationship with the healthcare team, which is like your doctors, the nurses. If you are a person who is becoming a diabetic, you definitely want to build a relationship with your healthcare team. Because it's a trust factor there, right? If you trust them, you're going to see them with your care, trust and believe that they are going to help you. I know my patients loved calling and talking to me all the time, because I was always just very sharp with everything. I knew what each individual needed. I knew their whole health team. It was as if I was the physician myself, but it was just because that was my passion. That was my love. It was taking care of people and knowing how. So when you are a healthcare worker, if you are a healthcare worker and you in nursing, medical assistants or nurses or whatever, what have you, or even physicians, you want to build that rapport with your patients, because you want them to trust that what you're telling them is accurate. And also, it gives them a sense of feeling like they are very important to you. That was one of my focuses that I prided myself on with my patients, was to make sure that they understood and they felt that they were my main priority. Although I had many of them, no one could ever come across my path and not felt like they were just that important to me and their health was that important. And it was. And I demonstrated that. And I taught that to my students so that they could go out and be just as successful as I was, and really kill it in this game. Talking to family about your diagnosis is something that you want to do as well. You want to talk to your family. You want to build that support with your family as well. And you also want to make sure that you, on the business side of things, the cost, it is not cheap. It's not cheap at all. This stuff is not cheap. I'm telling you. So here's the thing. Insurance, make sure that your insurance is going to cover these costs for you, your co-pays, the medication. Sometimes some things have to have like a prior authorization, and that has to go through the insurance companies because they want to have certain codes and things. And I'm not going to go too much in detail with it, but it can be a little lengthy. So you want to make sure that you have really good insurance, that you're staying compliant with your care, because if you're not complying with your care, I can tell you firsthand, if you are not being compliant, it kind of shows in the pattern. The insurance companies are actually watching how often are you even getting this medication? How often are you actually seeking the doctor? So when they bill for these things and they send it out to the insurance companies, they're actually paying attention to whether or not you are actually managing your health care right. So if you say, well, how can they do and did it? Listen, insurance companies been trying to take over for a very long time. And way back, I think it was I want to say maybe somewhere between 2007 and 10, insurance companies really came into where they just start taking over how people's healthcare is being managed, what can they afford, what they're actually going to pay for. And it was all based on these codes. So if you don't know the right codes, if your healthcare team doesn't do the right codes, then yes, it's going to kick it out. You're going to have a high bill that you are not expecting. So pay attention to your health insurance and making sure that you're keeping up on that. One of the things I also want to tell you, when you're living with diabetes and you're going through this management, celebrate your small wins, because it is really a big deal. If you knew the battle that people face with these, some people have a serious battle. Some people, it's really difficult for them at times and they struggle. So when your A1C really improves, that is really like a whole 3-month number. Okay. So every 3 months, depending on how you see your doctor, they have this one number. It's a A1C. You want this number to always be under 7%, 6% better, but you definitely want this number to be under there. Because when your A1C improves, your weight starts dropping, you start walking more, you start feeling better, you just, life is changing because you're managing all these things. Celebrate yourself. Now, don't go out and go do something stupid and eat some sugar, have cake. Don't do that. But just do something to celebrate your win. Be like, yes, I did that. And I'm telling you, men, even though we women, we know how to celebrate ourselves, you guys got to learn how to celebrate yourselves in your accomplishment and things of that nature. I can't tell you any stories about myself. I wish I could, but I have watched many of my patients have wins. And let me tell you, I had to teach them how to celebrate their wins. Like, yes, high five. And I'm telling you, you did a wonderful job. I don't care how young you are, I don't care how old you are, you have to celebrate people. You have to make them feel like what they have done, that they have met a milestone, that they've accomplished many, many of things. Okay. Because it's very important. Listen, I don't care if you were trying to drop 20 pounds in 3 months and you thought it was impossible, but you started dropping something. You celebrate that, even if it was 5 pounds. If you didn't reach your 20, but you got 5, you got 10, or you got 15, you celebrate that. You celebrate that. Okay. And so I want to encourage men, as I get ready to close, I want to encourage men to get their blood sugars checked, especially if they are over 40, or if you are just overweight. Get your blood sugars checked, get your blood pressure checked, get that PSA checked. We talked about that a week ago. I want you to get these things checked, because men, these are things that is happening to you guys. And then so Thursday I'm going to talk about hearts. Okay. About the way men's health is affecting men's hearts. And so right now, if you are over 40, or if you're just really overweight, go and get yourselves checked. Promote yearly physicals, and honest conversations with your doctors. Tell them what's going on with you, anything. So as I get ready to come to a close, because diabetes was not as long as the high blood pressure or the PSA, because it was just 2 in 1, and I wanted to kind of give it all at that time. And so as I get ready to come to a close, I want to just admonish men: your health matters. Your family needs you doing well. They need you to be well. And so diabetes does not have to win. Take control of your life today. Take control of your life today. If this episode has helped you, or anyone in your family, any loved ones that you know, please share, like, tag, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Revealed Life Coaching, where I'm enhancing lives, talking about all kinds of different things. And so therefore, this would definitely be a blessing to them. Just certain little tips and information that they can have. But ultimately, please go and get yourselves checked. Men, we love you. We need you around. You were the gift that God gave to the world. We were the gift that God gave to you all. And so in order for you to be strong men out here, taking care of your families, doing the things that you do, it's important for you to be healthy, to get out and walk, get out and exercise, eat right, diet right. And listen, my husband don't even like it all the time when I tell him what he got to eat and all those things. That's I don't want to say the price you pay being married to someone who's medical, but it's the benefit of being married to someone who's medical. Although I've transition to a different career path, but at the same time, you never forget those things. You don't lose it. I have not lost it. And so I want him to be around for a very long time, and I want him to be very healthy. And so, yeah, I've changed his diet. I've changed a lot of things because I don't want him to live with certain things when we can prevent it. All right. And so, if you have someone in your family, you love them, share this with them. Tell them, hey, take a listen to what she has to say. These are things that can benefit you and help you. And it's not so much as just men to women as well. These are same things apply for women, but there are certain different things for women as there is men. But God bless each and every one of you. I enjoyed you as always. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for those who view it. Always, if you want to ask Kay anything, DM me. You know how to reach me. And until next time, I will see you soon. Have an absolutely wonderful day. And I will talk with you soon. Bye-bye.